Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to Will's World. My name is Will, and this is my world. In today's episode, we're going to be doing some building, getting back to the basics, as it were. But today, we're going to be working on a church. I figure it's about time this town had a church. Plus, we can populate it with clerics later. And that'll be pretty darn cool because we need some people to buy all the zombie flesh. In any case, I've already got the foundation laid out and I picked a spot for it, and I think it's pretty groovy because we're gonna build the church, but then next to it we're gonna do a little graveyard, and I think out in front we'll have like a garden and maybe some fountains or something. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and just get to it. You can see it right behind me, but let's hop inside my head. And I always do that. There we go. Alright, so pretty simple shape going on here. I'm going to go ahead and the floor is going to be right here on like the ground level, but I wanted to give it a pretty solid foundation. As you can see, we're going with cobblestone and spruce wood because, again, that's what this town has. But the first thing I want to do with this beautiful little church is frame it out. So that is what we're going to do right now. And I'll get it all framed out, and then I'll bring you in and give you a progress update. So, as always, back in a flash. Alright, guys, I am back as a fisherman starts poking around this thing that I'm building. But as you can see, I've got the frame up, and I've done something kind of neat, I think, with the floor. I'm hoping this is going to work because it's very, very expensive. But I've basically just used logs for the whole floor, and I'm stripping them out now to give it kind of a neat tiled pattern. As you can see with the logs, I laid them out alternating which direction they were laying, and I'm hoping that this makes for a cool floor pattern. So that's going to be something that I have to run through here and do. The other thing I was thinking about, of course, is spruce wood. It's got a very green tint, so I'm not actually sure how good it's going to look. But I was thinking, and this might be a very, very expensive thing, but I was thinking about filling in the walls with the logs as well and stripping those out. So let's just do that in this section here and see what that looks like. I mean, it's not bad, but I just don't know. I don't know. What would happen if we do that, and then I need a crafting table. So there we go, and plop that there and make some stairs. How well are the planks going to mix in with the logs? And the answer is not super well. Okay, well that's fine. That is fine. That will make the walls less expensive not using those. But I do think the floor is going to be really cool. So we're going to keep this floor pattern, and I think that'll work out really well. So what I've basically done here with the frame, I like these beams coming across on the inside. That's going to look really, really cool. What we're going to do is we're going to have this front here. You can see that it's shorter than the rest of the building. So a shorter entryway with a little gabled roof. And then the main building section of the church, we're going to do a very steep pitched roof on there, like a big vaulted ceiling. So when you go inside having those beams go across, I think that's going to lend itself to a really, like I said, just a really neat look. It'll be very, very grand on the inside. So I think, though, we're going to stick with the, we're going to stick with the planks for the walls on the church, and I think everything's going to work out fairly nicely. So let me finish stripping out the floor and getting the walls in here, and then I'll bring you back in once we get to work on the 2 roof sections. So as always, back in a flash. Okay, guys, I am back. The walls are in. The floor is done. I think it's looking pretty cool. I do. I know there's a little bit of green in there, but honestly, for the spruce forest type biome, I think it works. Threw some dark oak stairs under the beams for support. Finished out the walls. We're going to have a lot of really tall windows going all the way around this thing. But what I wanted to show you real quick is the roof we're going to outline in cobblestone, and I thought I would just go ahead and build this little one with you guys because we're going to do it a little bit different. It's not going to be our standard stair block, just one at a time climbing it to a peak. It's going to be a more steep type thing. So what we do, we start with our stair block as normal and then an upside down stair block. Only the difference on these particular roofs is that these stair blocks are going to go that way as opposed to the traditional just reversing it like that. So that's the first step, those little upside down stairs right there. Get back up on the scaffolding here. And 1, 2. Alright, so first step's done. Now we're going to take a full block and we're going to go up 1. And then we're going to do stairs, upside down stairs. And we're at the middle already on this short one, but it's going to, the pattern just repeats itself. And this is going to make for a much steeper roof. So up again we go with a full block and a set of stairs, and then we cap it off with the upside down stair there, and then another one on top of it. So again, on the other side, full block, stair, stair, full block, stair. And if we hop on back down, you're going to see that makes for a much steeper peak for the roof. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to translate that to the obviously much bigger peak that's going to go on the larger portion of the building. So you can imagine this is going to be really, really tall. So let me go ahead and get this roof outlined and ready to go, and I will be back in a flash. Alright guys, I am back, and I had to kind of work out a roof pattern off camera there. It takes just a little bit more brain power than I can spare while I'm trying to talk and explain what I'm doing. So I've got this side of the roof done, and then we'll go and we'll do the other side together so you can see exactly what's going on. But as you can see, I've got this ridge going up the middle here, and then I put a nice little 4-sided cross up on top, and there's a skeleton shooting at me. There we go. And yeah, there's something neat going on with that cross that you can't really see right now, but you'll see if it gets dark out here. But let's go ahead and let's do this side of the roof together so that we can see how this is going to go. So I've got it outlined in cobblestone, and I'm doing the interior of the roof with dark oak. And with the dark oak, I am actually sinking the roof back 1 layer from the cobblestone, and it gives it kind of a more 3-dimensional look. I think it really adds something to the build and makes the roof just that much more interesting. So again, we're going with our stair block followed by a full block, and then we do a stair block on top of the full block like so. And I'm skipping that middle row there, or column rather, because that's going to be where we bring up the cobblestone as a support type structure. So we're skipping that middle one, and so we did our stair block, and now we're back to full blocks. And we just repeat this pattern all the way up to the top. And in the middle here, let me finish this off real quick. Boom. So in the middle here, what we're doing is we're going back to our cobblestone, and instead of sinking this part, we are going to keep it on the same level as the front and the back, the outline. So we go stair block, full block, stair block, full block, stair block, and then, lather, rinse, repeat, full block, and then a stair block. So you see how this pattern's going. Let me go ahead and, well, you can see what I'm doing with the cross up there. I've hidden a piece of glowstone inside the roof edging, and at nighttime what that does is it casts light upward, and it basically bottom lights the cross, and it looks really, really cool at night. So let me go ahead. I'm going to finish out this roof. I'm going to put in a wall on the back side here, and then we'll get in and we'll start talking about possibly doing some interior decorating, figuring out what we want to do with the windows, and all of that good stuff. So, as always, guys, back in a flash. All right, guys, I am back, and the roof is on completely. And it's looking really, really cool. I'm actually pretty darn happy with that. I've blocked in some paths here, connected it with the rest of the town pathways. I think I'll just take that. Yeah, that looks good. And if you come inside, haven't done any kind of an interior yet, but I did. I'm sure you saw I knocked a small window in the front wall, and the back wall is going to be this giant window with like that cross beam thing going on. I think that's going to be really cool, especially if we get some stained glass. I think it's going to look really nice. The other thing that I've done is I cut a path over here on the side, kind of changed the terrain a little bit. Lost some pumpkins, but that's okay. But on the side here, I've made a little graveyard. And I just did it with some cobblestone walls. I mixed in some mossy cobblestone walls. Again, I put the mossy parts near a water source because that makes sense. If we go in, it is a very small graveyard, and I've just got the path basically following this inside wall, because how we're going to make the graves is really, really quite simple. I've got this smooth stone slab. That represents basically a headstone, and then we're just going to do path blocks to the headstone. And now that I'm looking at it, I got to knock that out underneath there and do that. Yeah, that looks good. And then if, say, the villager or whoever happens to be buried here was of a poorer standing, we can use the regular stone slabs. Those are new blocks as of 114, and I am loving them. Now, something else that we can do that's going to be kind of cool is I made some coarse dirt, so that will never grow grass on it, and it kind of indicates like that's a fresh grave. That's a grave that was just recently dug. Naturally, we can go through and have one with just the grass in front of it. The grass has grown over that guy, so we have varying stages of of oldness with these graves. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward, simple kind of thing going on here. If we want to get fancy, we can make something kind of cool. Let me grab some other materials real quick. We'll make a big headstone for, I don't know, maybe it's like the old mayor or the founder of the village, and we can plop him down like right here and do something cool like that. Just a big old cross for mayor of Coolsville, or whatever the heck we end up calling this town. Hey, you know what? That's actually a good point that I just brought up with myself. Our village doesn't have a name, so we need a name. In the comments section, leave a comment. Tell me what you think we should name this village. Could be cool. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. Earlier, we we found a villager in the harbor, and he was just gonna drown out there anyway. You know, they're really really stupid. Um, so we we killed him, and he dropped his head, and we picked it up, and it said unemployed villager head. So unemployed villager, we'll say. When was he born? We'll say he was born in. Should Well, it's Minecraft. Should we make updates? Nah, we'll say 1983 to 2019. Poor guy. Rest in peace. But there we go. That's our graveyard, and we can do something big here. Here lies Mayor McFancy Pants. Mayor McFancy Pants. And we'll say he was born in 1956 and died in 2010. There we go. I think it works. I think it works out really well. And I think this is going to be looking super cool. So I'm going to do some interior work, I think. I'm going to definitely go through and plop in some windows, see if I can't get some stained glass going. And then I think after that, all we'll have to do is decorate the outside. But I think we're coming along nicely, and I think this place is going to look really, really cool. So, as always, guys, I will be back in a flash. All right, guys, I am back, and we are done. Look at that beautiful, beautiful church-like building. So cool. Again, like I said, we went with the super steep pitched roof. I think that adds a very cool look to the build itself. Something I did really quick was, and I'm not very good at these, but I threw in a fountain over here on this side, and I think, for what it is, I think that works. I think that looks pretty okay. Little lantern on top of it. We've got some more of our street lights lining this walkway over to the church. We threw down a bunch of bushes all around the outside. Again, just sinking the building into the world. We went through with some bone meal. I will at some point probably also add in some spruce trees along this little hill area to kind of fill that section in. Over here, of course, you saw that we've got our graveyard, and that's looking great still. But yeah, threw some bone meal down just to give it some more of that lived-in feel. But let's check out the inside. So, dark oak door. As you come inside, we've got this little, like, let me close that real quick. We've got this little entryway, right? And we've got these posts with the lanterns on top. I threw in a couple of 2x2 paintings above the windows there. We got a couple of tables over here. I don't know what they really represent, but I think it's a cool addition. Maybe I'll put like a chest or something on here. Be like the collection plate. Anyway, fence gate here because we are going to try to trap 4 villagers in here, so that we can have 4 clerics. And I've set up 4 brewing stands on little tables throughout. And then, of course, we've got the pews going here. These are just stair blocks with some spruce signs on the sides of them. We have these lamp posts going up in the corners, in the front and the back, with lanterns hanging from them. Of course, we've got our big window there. We've got some lanterns hanging up there. We also have this huge chandelier hanging from the ceiling up there from the rafters. Banners. I've thrown some red banners in here to kind of match the red carpet. Just a nice splash of color. And we've got a couple banners on these 2 pulpits here that are up on the dais. If we head down this way, lighting. We should talk about lighting. So lanterns everywhere, obviously, but under here, every other block, I've got a piece of glowstone. That way we are 100% sure nothing bad is going to spawn in this building. If we head all the way back here, we've got the raised area up here in the front of this church building, and I did the same thing with trapdoors here that I did out at the docks. They just kind of hide the fact that these are slabs here, but I also think that they add a really neat look. If we head up, we're continuing this carpet theme, and it's like draped over this table here, and then we've got the bell right here in the middle. I've hidden 4 beds because if we put 4 villagers in here, they're going to need a place to sleep. So I hid these 4 beds down on the bottom block while the rest of this is raised up, right? For these pulpits, that's just a full block and a slab, and then a couple trapdoors on either side, and then the banner hangs right there. And they look out over the crowd. I think this build actually turned out really cool. I'm pretty happy with it. We've got a lantern up there in the middle of that cross section, and I think everything looks really cool. So I'm actually pretty happy with this one. Of course, the next step is the hard part, and that is getting villagers in here. But I'm just going to do that off camera. It's a giant pain in the butt, so you know it's one of those boring type things. But we'll get some villagers in here, and we will now have clerics. Pretty darn cool, don't you think? I think so. Plus, you know, it's really starting to fill out the town. This section right here was just, you know, it was just full of spruce trees, kind of, you know, just like empty. I mean, aside from the trees, now we've got a really cool church thing going on here, which I think is just it adds. It's another really cool building to add to our collection of buildings within this village, and yeah. Like, the Librathedral behind me is a much more impressive building than the church, but I feel like the church building is like one of those buildings that they built first, and that is why it is all mostly cobblestone and spruce wood, is because it's one of the first buildings they would have built. That's why we've got the graveyard over here, you know? It's one of the oldest buildings in town. So I think it makes sense that it's made from cobble and spruce, and that it's maybe not as impressive as the library. Or maybe the folks in this town, they just... Oh, I'm running into walls here, sorry. Maybe the folks in this town, they just value knowledge above everything else, and that's why the library is such a massive build. Who knows? In any case, I think we've really struck on something with this build. I'm really pretty happy with it. I'm really very happy with it. What am I talking about? But we are now out of time. I checked before I started this, and we're quickly approaching the out of time mark, so I'm going to have to leave you guys here. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button. If you really liked it, maybe consider subscribing. If you super duper liked it, you know, leave a comment. Let me know what I'm doing well. Let me know what I can improve on. I would love to hear from you. And naturally, if you super duper liked it, share it with your friends. Share my channel with your friends. Let's spread the love. Alright? Alright. I'm going to leave you guys now. I've been Will. This has been Will's World. You be excellent to each other, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys. Bye.